Portions of Fox 24 News, sponsored by Jeff Smith Nissan.
In March of this year, 1,200 Georgians took a trip across the Atlantic to begin a mission of peace in a foreign land.
Many of the men and women in the Georgia Army National Guard's 48th Infantry Brigade are from right here in Middle Georgia, and they've given up their summer at home to protect freedom in Bosnia. .50 caliber barrels atop armored Humvees, M16s slung across the backs of camouflage-clad soldiers. These are the weapons of peace. American soldiers, many of whom are normally part-time in the National Guard, are serving full-time duty in Bosnia. Being away from home for 6 months is hard, but the men and women we spoke with say they're glad to help this war-torn nation put itself back together again.
It's an eye-opener. I saw a lot of things I didn't expect to see. The children look so healthy and they're so friendly and they just come right up to you. And sometimes they're begging and they're a little obnoxious, but we don't know where those kids have walked and what they've seen and what they've been through. As far as the landscape, we've seen buildings, damaged buildings and whatnot. It's like the war happened last week instead of 5 years ago. Their recovery is so slow. And then you see all this and you think, how would it be if we had tanks in our streets, soldiers with weapons? We don't have that. And it's hard for us to understand. But when you go to a country where you see that, then you understand.
Or actually, they're happy that we're here. They come and talk to us. They try to get our autographs. They ask us for Pepsis all the time.
They can go on with their daily life, not worrying about any conflicts from the past that took place. And we really appreciate over here.
It's been a quiet and peaceful occupation for the 48th Brigade. No Americans have been killed by hostile fire in Bosnia. But when outside the walls of the base camps, danger can be just a step away. The forest-covered hills throughout Bosnia are beautiful to look at, but a walk through these woods could prove fatal. You see, Bosnia is the most heavily mined country in the world. They don't even know exactly how many landmines are out there, but it's estimated there are over 1 million mines scattered throughout the countryside. Mines are the #1 threat to soldiers, a threat so great, in fact, that all American personnel must stay on well-traveled roads and paths while out in the countryside visiting the people and trying to spread goodwill. And goodwill appears to be making a difference.
I made a comment to a local lady about a week ago that if we were not here, would you be fighting in about 5 days? And she said, no, we would be fighting in 1 day. So our presence is known and it makes a difference. It is keeping the peace.
A fragile peace that these Georgia Guard men and women hope will stay together long after they've all returned home. And we'll continue our special report on keeping the peace in Bosnia Wednesday and Friday nights on Fox 24 News at 10.
You can also read more about the troops in Bosnia this week in the Macon Telegraph. Well, the weather here has been a little overcast and hot this afternoon.
And we hope.
Portions of Fox 24 News, sponsored by Jeff Smith Nissan.
Well, in mid-June, my partner here had the opportunity to travel to Bosnia to see firsthand what Middle Georgians with the National Guard are doing over there.
On Monday, we showed you the role of the American force in Bosnia and how soldiers from many mid-state communities are helping to keep the peace. Tonight, we look at what life is like for soldiers, far from friends, loved ones, and home. First thing you notice when you enter any Bosnian town is the damage. Virtually every structure in the country, it seems, was a target.
I guess seeing the damage firsthand was a sad realization for me. And it made me feel a little sad. It really did. These were a fine bunch of people, and after being here for several months and talking to them, they all look to the future.
Soldiers on their regular patrols found this mass grave site in the hills near the town of Zvornik, where victims of a mass killing weren't even buried. The stresses of soldiering, even in peacetime, require a measure of relief, and base camps in Bosnia provide it. Camps Comanche, McGovern, Fob Connor, and Eagle Base here in Tuzla are the places where the men and women of the Georgia National Guard call home. But unlike troops of decades past, base camp for the soldiers here of the 21st century is a lot closer to home than you'd think.
When you come here, you're expecting, okay, guard duty and soldiering. When you got here, it was like, okay, you got a gym, you got the MWR Theater, which we have people come in and perform for us. You know, we had the Laker girls come. That was a big bonus, you know.
Within the size of this compound, the educational opportunities, recreational opportunities are as good as I believe they possibly could have made it. I believe that's true.
Base camps are like small American towns with a modern PX for shopping, a movie theater, cappuccino bar, sports complex, and cyber cafe where keeping in touch with loved ones is just a point-and-click away.
They're doing a lot for the soldiers, doing a lot to help and make sure that the soldiers are keeping in contact with home and their families back home. So it's a little less stressful as long as you can contact people at home.
The soldiers tell us it's good to be able to come in from this and have this waiting for them.
I want to give the federal government, Uncle Sam, and the United States Army a lot of credit for making the place as aesthetically pleasing as possible. We have grass, we have trees. It's not where I'd want to stay too much longer, but it's livable for 6 months, I'll put it that way.
All right. Leaving home is hard enough, but most of the men and women in Bosnia also have full-time jobs right here in the state.
Yep, Friday night we're going to show you how employers and employees deal with these military emergencies.
Well, the sky looked a little threatening this afternoon. Could more rain be in our forecast for tonight?
Well, let's find out, Mark.
Today. Portions of Fox 24 News, sponsored by Jeff Smith Nissan.
Well, what would your boss say if you told them you needed to take 6 to 9 months off?
Ooh, whether you got a blank stare or an understanding nod obviously would depend on the reason, but that's a question many of the troops I spoke with in Bosnia had to ask their employer when they found out they were going to become peacekeepers. Soldiering is a job in and of itself, but every soldier has other duties inside and outside of the base. Whether it's doing public relations work with the locals and convincing them that the American troops are there to help, stitching up a gash in an officer's head after he slips and falls in the shower, or easing the pain of a bad tooth. Every man and woman of the 48th Brigade in Bosnia has a role to play. It's said keeping the peace isn't the job of a soldier, but only a soldier can do it. And while the men and women of the Georgia National Guard are here doing just that, each and every one of them has another very important job to do as well. At places like Houston Medical Center here in Warner Robins, where Sergeant David McCary is a full-time registered nurse when he's not in Bosnia keeping the peace.
I'm continuing to collect benefits. My health insurance is still in effect. My life insurance is still in effect because I'm not terminated. I'm on a military leave of absence. And when I get back to the hospital, I'm guaranteed a position in the hospital. May not be on the pediatric floor, but I'm guaranteed a position.
Employers are required by law to hold the employee's job while they're on active duty. But McCary's supervisors at Houston Medical Center say it's easy to work with their employees who also serve in the military because of the qualities they bring to the job.
One of the biggest positives I've seen is that when you encourage your employees to be involved in their community the way that these individuals are, and you support them in that, then you have a great deal of loyalty from your employee. They are proud of where they work and how that they're handled in that regard, and that you want them to be part of your community. So you do miss their skill and you miss their talent and their personality, so you're always glad to see them come back, but you miss them while they're gone.
The last thing you want to be worried about over here is how am I going to pay the mortgage when I get home and this paycheck stops. And a man my age doesn't want to go back into the job market and start doing the interviews and the resume thing again. I want to go back to my regular job.
Not having those worries brings peace of mind, and peace of mind makes it easier to keep the peace. Well, the soldiers of the 48th Infantry Brigade will return home to their families, friends, and their jobs in late September. And it was, on a personal note, a great opportunity to go over there and see how our troops are doing. Really gives you a appreciation for what they go through when you see it firsthand.
And we missed you while you were gone.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're back.
Nice. I'm glad to be back. What kind of weather can we expect through our weekend?
Well, Mark's in the Weather Center. He has a preview.